of you weren't chanting. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Gutfeld. I'm Joe Machi, filling in for Greg, who's getting his Black Friday shopping done at 7-Eleven. I hope he gets me a Twinkie again this year. Anyway, it's Friday, so you know what that means. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She's from a Kennedy family with no influence. Host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. He's in the documentary Women Aren't Funny, and he often proves men aren't either. Comedian Rich Voss. She's been to the ER more times than Evel Knievel. New York Times best-selling author and Fox News contributor Cat Tim. And historians asked him to stop lifting weights with Plymouth Rock. New York Times best-selling author, comedian, former NWA world champion Tyrus. Okay, before we get to some news stories, let's do this.
Greg's Leftovers.
It's Leftovers, where I read the jokes we didn't use this week. So if they do poorly, I'll force Joe DeVito to rub cranberry sauce all over my back. Well, it's the day after Thanksgiving, the day Chris Christie complains that it's 364 days till next Thanksgiving. But today, I worked hard to get rid of 218 pounds. That's right, I put my Aunt Bernice on a bus back to Pennsylvania. Sources are denying that 50-year-old Leonardo DiCaprio is engaged to his 26-year-old model girlfriend. That makes sense. Why would he marry someone that old? And why would she marry someone that old? A Rutgers University study suggests diversity, equity, and inclusion programs can actually heighten racial tensions. Supporters of those programs said, "Good, it's working." The attempted Mar-a-Lago Trump assassin had talking points published from a letter he sent to Politico. That's gotta hurt. That Politico wants to hear what an attempted assassin has to say, but not Keith Olbermann. Caitlyn Jenner hinted at a run to replace Gavin Newsom as governor of California, promising to reduce illegal immigration, fight crime, and open stubborn jars of pickles. The world's oldest man has died at the age of 112. Even more impressive than his age, of course, was the way he died, during sex. Neil deGrasse Tyson claims men have no innate competitive advantage in sports. He also believes all those Doritos are helping him lose weight. Okay, gang, on to the monologue. So, there was a debate in the run-up to the election about whether the economy was doing well. Rich Democrats thought it was, while everyone else was busy setting up tents. You can tell things are in bad shape because America has been doing the same thing the Roman Empire did when its economy faltered, adding distractions in the form of sports. People can't afford a home? Let's have men fight other men in cages. People can't afford a car? Let's have women fight other women in cages. People can't afford eggs? Let's have men fight women in cages. But rich Democrats have missed a lot. For instance, in 1980, the average home cost 3 times your annual salary. In 2022, it was nearly double that. That's tough unless you're very rich and frugal like Greg Gutfeld. He tries to pay us writers with his autograph. But consider this. A recent study suggests Gen Z believes it takes almost $600,000 salary to be financially successful. That shows you they have no faith in the economy. In 2023, 45% of people 18 to 29 reported living with their parents still. Real wages adjusted for inflation have been flatter than my washboard abs for most of the past 2 decades. So it's no surprise that with it taking longer to afford a home, the fertility rate is crashing like Paul Pelosi after a few too many White Claws. For my entire life, under both parties, I've witnessed America see the best things in life replaced with something worse. Savings with debt. Homeownership with an apartment. Happiness with antidepressants. Cars with electric cars. A long retirement with euthanasia. A spouse and kids with single and cats. Greg Gutfeld with me. Some of it is no one's fault. Society's changed. Having children in the past could have provided an economic benefit. Another mouth to feed quickly became more help on the farm. That doesn't work anymore. I can't have children to help me do stand-up. I'd come home off the road and say, "What have you wrote for me, Timmy?" And he would show me a card that says, "Daddy, I miss you and wish you were home more." I can't use that. But a lot of it is because our leaders have squeezed us at both ends, like the time I wrestled those Brazilian twins. Shout out to Beatrice and Steve. They're identical, not fraternal, Rich. Anyway, the government destroyed our manufacturing base with trade deals that literally pitted American workers against slave labor abroad. How else do you think China makes millions of TVs and we make zero? Then they destroyed our service industry with decades of open borders. The government has responded with fake statistics, faker than the smiles Rich sees when he comes home at night. Meanwhile, our unemployment rate drops when people stop looking for work. But it's not all negative. There's still a place where you can quickly earn a fortune with a good salary, retirement benefits, and great job security: Congress. The worst part is a lot of the problem, they call themselves Republicans. Trump won by bigger margins than his so-called Republican allies. The party of George W. and Mitt Romney can't win a broad coalition in today's America. But how is Trump thanked? They appoint Susan Collins to head the powerful Senate Appropriations Committee. She's so Republican, she'd probably get offered a job at MSNBC. And rhinos like Mitch McConnell are reportedly attacking his nominees despite voting to approve Merrick Garland. Why couldn't Mitch freeze up then? If we're going to make America great, we can't keep re-electing the people who made it mediocre. They're getting rich while managing America's slow decline into an irrelevant former power long bereft of glory. I don't know about you, but I don't want to end up like France. Kennedy,
Hi, Joe.
How are you?
Good. Are you really from Pennsylvania?
I am from Pennsylvania, State College, city of love. People call it Pennsylvania's Paris. Sometimes I'm just spitballing.
I don't think anyone's ever
buying
said
it. No, no one's ever said that. Okay.
I'd love if you went to Penn State.
Well, you know, improv involves a lot of agreeing with the person who puts themselves out there, but apparently you didn't get that memo.
Yes, and?
I assume you're very smart. You own a number of very nice glasses. Will the American dream of home ownership ever be achievable again?
For you, yes, because even if it's 6 times your salary, that Coleman tent is very much within reach for you. I believe you make about $230 a year.
Oh, well, with Gutfeld pays me, that's a generous estimate.
Yeah, this is so weird because the data also shows that so many people are living with their parents, and if you're living with your parents, you're probably sleeping in their bed still because they're warm and cozy and it feels safe. And then when you have your girlfriend sleep in bed with you, with your parents, it's really, really hard to get it on. It's its own category on Pornhub, but still incredibly difficult.
I've never heard of that website personally. It takes a lot of game. Luckily, I've got that game. But Rich, you're obviously doing very well. You've got a new special out on Amazon called Anonymous. You have a number of rings and watches and accessories.
I'm empty.
You have a number of rings and watches.
I'm empty inside, yeah. I have a special on Amazon, Rich Voss Anonymous, and it's doing well. Like in the clubs now, like before the special was on, I would, bring my own curtain to the clubs and curtain off the second row so it looked full. Now I curtain off the fourth row, so I added 2 more rows after the special.
That's a brilliant idea, but the point I was trying to make with the monologue is that My friend in California, he bought a house recently for $1.7 million. Now, he bought it from a man who was a gardener, and there's not to disparage gardeners, but it just seems like that dream is out of reach, where homeownership was something that it was how the middle class built wealth. And have you noticed a major difference in the time that you've been doing stand-up? Or?
Well, my wife and I, we have a a big house. We're both headliners. The thing is, and the good thing is, we each have separate bedrooms because, I snore and whatever. And after sex, I'm like, hey, look, you got to run. I always tell her, and I give her one of my CDs as she leaves and goes back to her room. Take this with you. But listen, if you work hard, you'll get a house. My kids have houses. My 7-year-old, we're putting her out soon. She'll get a house. So you can do it.
That's good to hear. 2 optimists in a row. Kat, I'm going to go to you.
Yeah.
You're legendary for being an optimist, but if things don't work out, would you consider moving back to Michigan with Pops?
No, I mean, it's not that easy anymore. It used to be easy because all the boomers bought the houses for $14, and now they're a lot more than that. So it's hard. I think a lot of people work hard and still can't afford a house. And I'm just realizing I don't think my baby's ever going to move out. Because if it's already this bad, so I'm going to be living in an apartment with a baby, except it won't be a baby. It'll be like 45. And I'll be like real close to death. And so you said you didn't want optimism, right? And you came to the right place. It's disheartening because a lot of people don't realize just how expensive it is to buy your first home right now. It's absolutely crazy. And, so that's why a lot of people just rent or live with 10 roommates or,
Oh, roommates, they are the worst.
Yes, I'm the worst one. Yes.
I can't. That's impossible, Kat.
Oh, no, it's possible.
Tyrus, why are so many wealthy Democrats so out of the loop with this? You think you just, you interact with people every day.
You want me to answer a question about a group of people that I would probably eat before I would even talk to? I think it just comes from when you have, a lot of times people have their generational wealth, right? So they come from money. Mm-hmm. So their parents and their grandparents worked their ass off, and then they got their money, and then they're completely out of touch with the rest of us who have peaks and valleys. You have good years and bad years, and you have bad presidents and good presidents, and Americans, we just kind of roll with the punches, and those of us who are able to navigate and take our bumps and bruises and keep working and following the American dream, you will get there, but you have to be able to be honest with yourself. Like, I want to own a house in New York, but I don't make New York money, but I could have a big house in the Midwest. So you go to the Midwest, and then you don't be afraid to travel and try. I've been all over this country because I don't have mom and dad to go live with if a thing doesn't work out. So if I could have a great house in beautiful Kearney, Nebraska, but I won't be in the big city, that's the American thing. You find your lane, you get into it, you keep working, you take your bumps, and eventually you'll get there. I think the problem is with the elites and a lot of the young people who have first world problems, they think life is like the TV series where it only takes about 6 episodes or weeks to get where you need to go. And that's not what it is. It takes years. You probably might not buy a house until you're in your 50s, but so be it. But it's the journey, the work, and how hard you're willing to go. It doesn't matter how expensive to get in those. You just whether you want to bust your ass or not.
All good points. Before we go, come see me on tour. I'm coming to Pennsylvania, Arkansas, Kansas, and Indiana. Go to joemachi.com for more info. And up next, Rand Paul pushes Trump for a COVID truth dump.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.